Good evening, folks. Welcome to this edition of Carolina Curveball with your boys. Only two fellas on here tonight. If you're listening, thank you for listening on Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, the stream on X or YouTube, thank you very much. It is much appreciated. Tonight, we have a very light barn, don't we, Reed? It is just me and you, sir. No Colby and Braxton as we go into week 2 of the 2026 college baseball season. We have a massive week ahead. Have a really nice midweek to recap. Read some really good games happen on Tuesday and Wednesday. Really excited
Yeah,
going into week 2. Sir, how are you?
I'm good. Great midweek. Glad that midweek is back. Pumped for this. Pumped for this weekend.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this weekend, Reed. Is there a matchup that you're looking forward to this weekend more than others, sir?
Well, I'll just start with the headliner. This weekend, I'll be there on Saturday. I know you and Braxton will be there Friday and Saturday as well. East Carolina versus UNC. This is always such a neat series. One game in Greenville, one game in Chapel, and then one on neutral field in Durham. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to those matchups very, very much. But before we get into it, I want to recap the midweek that was. If you are listening on Spotify, once again, thank you. We are going to read off the midweeks that happened. These games are on Tuesday and Wednesday. If you're watching on the screen, you have kind of a little sneak peek look at our Carolina Curveball 2026 season folder. This folder is created by Braxton and Colby, who are absolute wizards with an Excel sheet. So this is how we organize all our games, and this is kind of a really good way to see what really happened. So Reed, we will start off with Western Carolina at USC Upstate on Tuesday. The Spartans win 17 to nothing. Reed, 17 to nothing. Take down the Catamounts of Western Carolina down there in Cullowhee. And hey, they're used to putting up runs. They put up a donut, and the Spartans put up 17.
Yeah, kind of a shock considering what Western did this past weekend. But Upstate, they really bounced back in a big way. We know they had a lot of offense. We knew coming back, Henry Zenor, Jake Armsy, big games. Zenor 4 for 6, Armsy 3 for 5. But Max Keplin, what a game he pitched! 6 innings pitched, 7 Ks, 0 runs, 2 hits. So yeah, good bounce back from Upstate from a disappointing opening weekend.
Yeah, this is an upstate team that can put up a lot of runs in a hurry. They have offense all over their lineup. Really like them, the Big South going forward, picking up a nice win over SoCon, kind of middle of the package team in Western Carolina. App State in Durham, um, in that small ballpark. I know me and Money Matt are a fan of that ballpark, but App State comes there and does not take care of the job. They lose 10-5 to Duke. A nice win for Duke, and Read a disappointing one. The next game I'm going to talk about is Charlotte at Clemson. Clemson just absolutely dismantling Charlotte. Just kind of a shocker. I mean, I think Clemson would have. I think Clemson's going to win that game, but not 11-1.
No, Charlotte, Andrew Cribbs, very disappointing. He started last Friday, didn't get out of the first inning against San Diego, so I guess they wanted him to get some more innings, start him against Clemson, your ace, and he doesn't even make it out of the first inning. Again, just going 2/3 of an inning. But Nate Savoy with Clemson, he was spectacular. He's been a huge piece to this Clemson offense coming over from Loyola Marymount. Jacob Jarrell hit a homer as well. Clemson looks really good right now early.
Yeah, Jacob Jarrell, he is a phenomenal talent. The Tigers are going to ride with him whether he's up or down. So I think their season kind of goes by him, and they have some really good pieces on the mound as well. And Kanak last week wasn't 100%. Heard he was battling the flu as well as that team, if I'm not mistaken, Reed, and they still got the job done versus Army. So looking up this weekend, we will get into their matchup soon. College of Charleston takes down Coastal Carolina 4-3. A really good game. Really good by the Cougars. But before I get into this game, I want to discuss the news that came out today. Reed Dominic Carbone is out for the rest of the season with UCL surgery, so that is a massive, massive blow for them. And Cameron Flukie, projected top 10 pick for Coastal Carolina, is taking some time. Don't know fully his timeline there, but he will not pitch this week or maybe next week. Kevin Schnall today did not give a timeline, if I'm not mistaken, Reed. But the Chanticleers are hurting on the mound right now.
Yeah, that's huge, huge disappointing news out of Conway this morning. But yeah, Fluky Chanel said it was a strained muscle in his
Yeah.
ribs
Hmm.
at the moment. And they said he's doing better day to day, but I mean, we're early in the season. No point of trying to rush him back. Let him get healthy. The Carbone loss that's a huge loss, but I mean, they got guys in the bullpen that can step up. Horn's been really good for them so far. He was good for them last year. I mean, this is going to give a lot of other guys in the Coastal rotation that didn't think they were going to have a chance. They're going to have to step up now. Ryan Lynch and Hayden Johnson are still out for a couple more weeks, according to Schnall. So, I mean, this is going to give an opportunity to a lot of different guys.
Yeah, those are four guys right there that are massive to their team. And today you sent in our group chat, Coastal Carolina tweeted their weekend rotation. They're playing four games this weekend. Friday, 4 p.m., Luke Jones. Saturday, 4 p.m., Ross Norman. And then Sunday, the doubleheaders are to be determined. So, really kind of a position that Coastal did not think they were going to be in. A lot of people did not think they're going to be in this position. But I will say this, Reed, with Kevin Schnall as head coach, and I don't know that pitching coach's name off the top of my head, but he was assistant coach of the year last year. He's done a phenomenal job with that program, so I for sure think they will be okay. They're going to figure it out, and it's honestly next man up. And honestly, these are how a lot of stars are born in college baseball. I mean, not college baseball, even college sports. I mean, when some guys go down, guys are going to step up. Guys are going to step up in the spotlight. And I think with that culture that Schnall has built and built on from Gilmore, I mean, let's not forget that Schnall's first year was last year, which is unbelievable. And I mean, this team knows what it takes to get there. This team's seen what it takes to get there. This team has felt what it takes to get there. So I think these guys will step up, do just fine. But we shall see what goes down in Conway. Really
Yeah,
unfortunate for
it's
them.
better this happened now,
Yes,
compared to if
fair
this was
enough.
happening here at the end of May.
Fair enough.
This gives Schnall a great chance to figure out what else he has, and let these guys develop.
Yeah, because they have a lot of young guys that are throwing mid 90s as well. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll see the next Carbone or Ryan Lynch or Fluky or Hayden Johnson coming up. So this is an opportunity for those guys to really, really step up. And Reed, I'll let you touch on. Sorry, before we move on, College of Charleston defeats Coastal in a really good game. So I'll let you touch on that, sir, because you're very high on the Cougars this year.
Yeah, Reese Holbrook, coming over from Carolina, had a really good 2 for 4 RBI.
For
Had a
his dad.
clutch hit for his dad. Had a clutch hit in that game. Kurt Rogers pitched the last 3 innings of that game, shutting down the Chanticleers, securing the win. But Jordan Taylor made 2 costly errors in left field for Coastal. Right there when they tied it up at 3, he slipped. He dropped a pop fly earlier in the game. But I mean, this Coastal lineup, they need some of their veteran presence to start producing. Barthel, Thorndike, Walker Mitchell. They've all struggled at the plate here to start the season. I mean, we're only 4 games into the season, so I'm not going to overreact. But they need these guys to pick up a very young rotation right now.
And thank you, Charlie Chat. Matt Williams is the pitching coach for Coastal Carolina who won. I could not think of his name, but yes, that is his name. Doing a phenomenal job. Would not be shocked if he has a head coaching job soon. Reed Presbyterian at Elon. Elon defeats them 6-4. Elon having a nice season thus far. Looking forward to seeing as the season goes on. Asheville goes to Tennessee. Not much to really discuss there. To be honest, unfortunately. Tennessee defeats the Bulldogs 10-3. Reed Richmond at North Carolina. Carolina wins 10-0. I'm not sure if you want to talk about this one too much. I think you kind of want to discuss the game versus Longwood on the following day on Wednesday a little more. But Reed, 10-0, 10-0 win versus the Spiders.
I'll just touch on it. It was good to see Kyle Percival back on the mound for Carolina. He was injured most of last year. They really jumped on them quickly. They were up 8-0 after 2 innings to put that game to rest.
And Schaffner hit his first home run of the season, if I'm
Yep.
not mistaken. The shortstop transferred from North Dakota State for North Carolina, so good start for him. And Reed, many people are asking this. Our friend Ian Cato is asking us, why can't ECU beat Campbell? I have heard it all week. I listened to 94.3 The Game with Hoist the Colors, Stephen Igo, heard clips from Pirate Radio, Jungle Tales. I mean, Reed, as two ECU guys, I think we can say this. I think we can talk about this. I mean, we are biased, of course, towards ECU sometimes, but should ECU cancel the series versus Campbell every single year?
No, I mean, most ECU fans probably want to, though. What is it now? 6 in a row they've lost. But I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, 4 errors on Tuesday night, you're not going to win baseball games. Yeah, the pitching was good. Sean Jenkins, another great outing out of the bullpen, 3 innings pitched.
No earned runs in this game from the pitching
Yeah.
staff.
But yeah, four errors. I mean, you're going to lose a lot of baseball game if you're bouncing the ball around like that. But Sean Jenkins was great out of the bullpen. 3 innings pitch, 5 strikeouts, not even a hit allowed. Nick Moran pitched well, but for Campbell, Mason Smith was really good. Started the game 5 1/3, 0 earned, only 3 hits, 5 strikeouts. He really shut down that ECU lineup. It always feels like too, Kaysen, over the past few years when we go to Campbell, they'll jump on us early, and then ECU will usually tie it, and then you get to that bottom half or whatever inning it is they tie, and whether it's walks, errors, which was the case on Tuesday night, Jenkins came in, was able to get a double play with the bases loaded, no outs, and they were only able to hold him to one. But I mean, you put guys on base for free, and you make errors, you're going to lose baseball games. Simple as that.
Without a doubt. And also, you were saying, talking about every time we go to Campbell, it's a struggle. But also, Reed, every time ECU faces former Pirates, it's a struggle. And Mason Smith, former Pirate, did not pitch in 2023. Spent a year, I think, Gaston College after they went to Campbell. Pitched amazing last year, too. Just, Reed, anytime there's a former Pirate, whether it's Alec Makarevich, Connor Rasmussen, Mason Smith, Colby Thorndike. What was the guy for Charlotte? Was it Wilson, AJ Wilson? I mean, Reed, when ECU plays Charlotte later this year, is Jaden Winter going to throw a no hitter?
Better look out. It seems like it every time we go up against a former player. I mean, it's something about it. They've got a chip on their shoulder. But shout out Jet Music,
Yes.
one of the best names in baseball, coming
He
in,
does
getting
have
this,
legs.
and coming in, making the save. Something with Campbell two-way players coming in and making saves against ECU. We've seen it before.
Yeah, so really, really interesting to see. We're getting some comments from Thomas McGrath. What's up, chat? Yo, chat. Thomas McGrath, former ECU Pirate as well. But we will touch on ECU later on as they played on Wednesday as well. Now discuss High Point at Wake Forest. Wake Forest wins 7-6, wins a close one. This was a really good game, Reed. I don't know if a lot of people were tuned into it, but this was a really good game and a nice win for Wake Forest. And this High Point team, this is a good team, right?
Yeah, it was a really good game. Wake kind of jumped on them early. High Point was able to respond. Believe Wake took the lead there in the eighth, or they might have walked it off. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, Cam Bagwell, he made his Wake debut. A little up and down. 4 innings pitched, 3 earned, 3 Ks, 3 hits. But, he's adjusting, coming over from Wilmington to Wake. I would eventually think we will probably see him in the weekend rotation. But Andrew Costello, too, Luke Costello's little brother, he was really good for them. 2 for 3, 3 RBIs. He's a big time prospect for 2027.
UNCG does not get their first win at Davidson. I will spoil here. They did get it versus A&T in the Battle of Greensboro on Wednesday. Davidson with a nice midweek win. They have a big test versus Fairfield this weekend, who kind of pushed Coastal a little bit in game one. So looking forward to that one. South Carolina at Wofford. South Carolina wins 8-2. Reed, I think, and we did our midweek madness. There was a large amount of people that picked Wofford, so South Carolina did get it done. And Reed, I said on our recap show talking about the midweek that Wofford would beat South Carolina, and I was wrong, sir.
Yeah, I mean, these are the games South Carolina needs to win to build some early momentum. KJ Scobie had a big game, 4 for 5, homer, a couple RBIs. But, if Maneri wants the pressure off him, he needs to take care of business, get off to a good start here. Clemson's coming next weekend. So this is a good start for him.
Yeah, also want to shout out Ben Little, who sent me a message on Carolina Curveball saying that we did not discuss their weekend series this past weekend, and I take full responsibility of that. I did text him back. We did miss a row, including Charlotte, and I think Davidson too as well. When doing the recap, that is on me. Will not happen again. But thank you for listening once again, Ben, and hope you're listening right now. Um, Charleston Southern at North Florida. Charleston Southern with a nice 12-4 win there. Radford at Queens. Radford wins 11-2. Reed, really hoping our Queens make a step forward soon.
I
But
sure hope so.
yeah, sure hope so. Now on to Wednesday, Winthrop at NC State. I think all of us were watching this at one point. I know me and Braxton were watching it together, not together, but we were texting about it, texting in the chat. Winthrop was this game was tied 3-3 for a little bit. Then NC State kind of busted it open there. Luke Nixon went 3 for 4, and the game really broke open when Ty Head hit his first home run of the year for the Pack. NC State goes on to win 7-3 in their first home game of the year. And Reed, it doesn't get much harder for them going forward, as NC State's non-con is not hard at all. This was honestly a game that we kind of circled that was like, if they're going to lose one, it honestly might be to Winthrop because they might not lose for a while.
Yeah, State really has it easy here the next few weeks. They might be undefeated going into ACC play. But Drew Lampier, he's been swinging a really hot bat for State here through their first 3 games. I think he went yard on Wednesday. So it's an encouraging start for State, and they're taking care of business is what they need to do.
Speaking of not taking care of business, unfortunately, USC Upstate travels to Georgia, loses 12-6. Just Reed, it's just different in the SEC, especially down there in Athens. They just cannot get it done. They go 1-1 in the midweek, beat Western 17-0, but lose to Georgia 12-6. Unfortunate, but it's just a different animal down there. Northern Illinois at East Carolina. Reed, the Pirates bounce back, win 11-5, and what was a pretty interesting game. Reed, there were some people high on Ryan Towers. I will say I think you were one of them before the season, and I kind of said let's see it before I really put any labels to it. He did not look good on the mound. The Pirates did not look that great. Gavin Molly looked really good. But Reed, a nice bounce back from ECU here. They finally were able to string some hits together. Carlos Yakame, I get his name wrong every time. Hakame. He hit a 3-run shot that really opened it up. Davin Whitaker has had some really good plate appearances for the Pirates. And Reed, before the season, not many people were talking about Davin Whitaker at all. He kind of got lost in the shuffle, lost in the backlog as ECU's outfield was really, really deep. But as me and you were discussing over text, like all offseason, they were talking about how deep ECU is. It's just so deep in the positions. But when you really think about it, with all these errors that are happening in the infield, the lack of scoring, they may be deep, but is there talent at the top? So, it's a really, really hard question to answer, but happy for Davin Whitaker. Stepping up in a big spot when it's needed.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Jack Vogely too. I think he really needed that for his confidence. Had the big hit there to clear the bases near the end of the game yesterday. But I mean, they've got to figure it out defensively. I mean, UNC. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But they need Colby Wallace to step up. They moved him over to short, which I really did not see that in the offseason. I don't think you did either, Kaysen. And he's made quite a few errors here to start the season and hasn't backed it up either with his bat. Um, it's been very disappointing these first few games. I'm not going to panic yet. I mean, we're only 5 games in. And then, with Ryan Towers, too, I mean, he hasn't pitched in 2 years. I think we need to give him a couple more outings before we can really make a full assessment on him.
Yeah, I agree, and I want to address the comment section. There are some dubs in the chat. Appreciate it. Reed Tobin, ECU Jungle Legend. Reed, when are you making it back out to ECU, man?
I'm hoping to make it next weekend. Can't say I'll be sitting in the jungle, but or standing in the jungle, but yeah, hoping to be there next weekend for the Clark Leclerc Classic. We'll see though.
Gardner Webb at South Carolina. Jim. Shout out Jim Cheshire for messaging us. Really, really good guy there down there in Boiling Springs. Go to South Carolina. Do they take a tough loss, 12-2, but Reed, South Carolina looks to have found their offense a little bit during this midweek as they look to continue that. But hey, we'll see what goes down there as SEC play happens. UNCG gets their first win of the season, Reed, in the Battle of Greensboro over NC 4-4. They win 4-3. Excuse me, Lord have mercy. And then Reed, North Carolina is a win over Longwood. But hey, I was checking on the score a little bit while watching the ECU game. Was this closer than you thought, Reed?
Yeah, Carolina, they jumped quick on them, but shout out Longwood. They really battled back in that game. Made that Carolina had to make a few plays offensively down the stretch. Colin Heineck, had a couple big hits for them, but another solid day on the mound for Carolina. I mean, they did have to bring in McDuffie and Matias yesterday, which I don't think many people thought. But it's good to get them loose for a big series this weekend.
And last, before we get on to the comment section, Merrimack at UNC Wilmington. This was Merrimack's first game of the season. Actually, kind of strange. Wilmington takes care of them 10-0. So I saw Jones went 3 for 4 with a home run that was posted on Curveball. So nice win for Wilmington as they try to bounce back from a tough weekend versus Maryland. Last comment, Reed, is Tech banned, James the technician, banned from the jungle?
I don't believe he is. I think the jungle is just awaiting his return.
I definitely think the jungle is awaiting his return. But Reed, this was a really, really good midweek slate. Looking forward to this weekend, Reed. As we touched on it, I'm trying to pull it up right now. Reed, off the top of your head, what other games have your eye this weekend, sir?
I think I'm looking at that Elon at Charleston Southern, two teams both 4-0. Coming a little under the radar to start the season. So I think that should be a pretty fascinating series down in Charleston this weekend.
Correct. So let's see what happens here when I max. Oh, let's not maximize. Let's see our faces too. First one is NC-A&T. Reed, can you still see my face on here when I do this?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the first one is NC-A&T at App State. This is going to be an interesting series. I expect App State to take this series. Reed, do you have any difference?
I believe that's not a series. I think App it's like a little mini tournament. I know they play Queens one of those games, A&T's in there, and then there's another team. It's like a little round robin they've got this weekend.
Okay,
If you want
excuse
to
me.
scroll down, you can see who they're playing the rest of the weekend.
Okay, so can you see me? Can you see me? Can you see me scroll?
Yeah.
Okay, so NC-A&T versus App State and Hickory. They play them at 1, and then App State plays Southern Illinois on Sunday as well. A&T at Queens. Maybe versus Queens. This is interesting. Curious what this goes. I'm gonna have to read more into that.
I
Excuse
believe
us.
they're playing it at the minor league park in some of
Okay.
those games up in Hickory.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Next, we have Army at South Carolina. I guess Army is just staying there all week, and they're from New York, so staying there all week at South Carolina. Reed, I'm gonna say it right now. Army gets one game at South Carolina. Pretty in the go ahead, Reed.
I'll correct you there. That's also not a series. South Carolina doing a little military tribute. They're playing Navy and Air Force this weekend. So cool little thing that Maneri's doing, getting all the armed forces down here.
Very nice, sir. Reed, is Princeton at NC State a series, sir?
Nah, I mean I think State will continue to hit this weekend. I look for them
Reed,
to
I was
sweep
literally
this
asking
weekend.
you, sir.
Oh yeah, that's a series.
Just messing
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
So yeah, I expect NC State to sweep for sure, as we discussed earlier. Not much of a test for NC State going forward. Ryder at UNC Asheville. Hopefully Asheville can get some wins there. Reed, I'm not too familiar with Ryder, but expect Asheville to get some wins there. And Reed, Northern Illinois is really riding the Carolina curveball wave. Started with North Carolina A&T this past weekend. Don't they didn't play a Tuesday game, didn't they? I'm pretty sure they just went straight to Greenville for
No,
the
they
week.
played Monday against A&T,
Correct. They
and
played Monday
then
against
and then
A&T,
yeah,
didn't play Tuesday, played Wednesday. Now going to USC Update Spartans. Read. I expect the Spartans to sweep them and put up about 18 runs a game.
yeah, I agree.
Morehead State at Winthrop on Friday. I expect Winthrop to win this series. Nice bounce back from NC State. They had a nice opening series win, so looking forward to that one. And then we have a Carolina curveball matchup in Elon at Charleston Southern. Reed, this will be on the Pick'em. Try not to spoil your pick a little bit, but what do you expect to see from the series, sir?
I think it should be good. Both teams have looked really good offensively. Chandler Tupou on Charleston Southern had a big Tuesday game. Yeah, I'm really excited. I know it's early, but and both teams haven't played anyone yet. But I think this will be a good test for both to see where they're at.
I agree, sir. Next game is or series Wright State at Charlotte. Reed, Charlotte coming off a tough midweek loss and a tough series loss. Is this a bounce back opportunity for them versus Wright State? A good Wright State team that took a
Yeah,
game from they
Georgia.
did a game from from Georgia. I knew it was an SEC team.
Hmm.
And so, hey, is Wright State some SEC killers? I mean, Vanderbilt, then Georgia.
Yeah, they just might be. But this is gonna be a tough little series here for Charlotte. Kind of struggling out of the gates here. Um, they pitched Crib. Like I said, what are they going to do with Andrew Cribbs? He's pitched, made two starts this season and pitched point two and only going 2/3 each start. So I mean, they got to figure out something with that. I mean, the offense I'm not too worried about, but I mean, it would not shock me if Wright State won this series this weekend.
Marshall at the Citadel, not expecting many runs in that series. That series on ESPN Plus all weekend starting at 4 p.m. Bryant at Clemson. Also, folks, just want to state this is kind of the first couple weeks of the season. You're not going to get too many great matchups the first couple weeks of the non-con. Just kind of waiting for teams kind of get up to speed. Granted, there are some tournaments, like Reed said, so some of these matchups are not as pretty as others. But hey, it's college baseball, so we love it. VCU at Coastal Carolina. Reed, VCU was a tournament team 2 seasons ago. Saw them in the Greenville Regional. I know they got rated by the portal last 2 years, but at Coastal Carolina, who's I wouldn't say hobbling right now, but definitely not 100% healthy. Could you see VCU taking a game here, sir?
Well, this one is also a little tournament because they also play Illinois twice. I think they play Illinois twice and VCU twice. But what I've got my eye on, I want to see Coastal swing the bat well. Like I said, I mentioned a few minutes ago, they need Barthel, they need Colby Thorndike, they need Walker Mitchell to really start to pick things up and carry this young pitching rotation that they have out while all their star-studded pitchers are sidelined here over the next few weeks.
South Alabama at Cobbs Charleston. Reed, is this a tournament or a series?
That is a series. South Alabama. That's a tricky series for Charleston. Riding high from Tuesday's win against Coastal, but South Alabama really put the hurt to Upstate last week and taking 2 out of 3. So I mean, Charleston will have their hands full. I expect a lot of runs there this weekend.
Milwaukee at Duke. Reed, weren't they pushing? Were they pushing LSU last week at one point?
Yeah, they play. Honestly, I'll give them a pat on the back. They played LSU pretty solidly in most of those games. I mean, they most ended up turning into blowouts at the end. But I mean, if you were just checking the final score. But I mean, if you look at the box score, Milwaukee led in a couple of those games, especially with Duke. They lost a game to Maine last weekend, which they shouldn't do. So I mean, if they're not ready to play, Milwaukee absolutely can take one from them.
Fairleigh Dickinson at Gardner Webb. Reed, is this a series? I'm going to ask you every time because I'm
I
struggling.
believe it
I
is. Yeah,
apologize, folks.
I believe it is.
Maine at High Point. That is a series, correct, Reed?
Yes.
I know that. Maine staying in the state of North Carolina, 4-game series versus Duke last week, going up 40. So to see the Panthers expect High Point to take care of business there. NJIT at Presbyterian, Southern Illinois at Queens, Canisius at UNCG. Reed, hopefully G can pick up some more wins there to add on. Fordham at UNC Wilmington. Reed, isn't Fordham the number one? Don't they have the most college basketball wins of all time? Isn't that a stat?
I'm not sure off the top of the head. Something I'd have to look up.
Yeah, just was thinking about them. Wilmington, Siena at Wake Forest, Bowling Green at Western Carolina, and Reed. Here are some ones that I do want to discuss. Campbell at Troy. Really, really tough series for Campbell. Really two tough series to start the season for them. Reed going to Troy, a Sun Belt favorite. That is not ideal, but they have an opportunity to win this and
Yeah,
put their name out there.
yeah. That should be a really good series this weekend. What did Troy do last weekend? I'm looking right now. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Campbell always does this. They love to stack their schedule early. They look good too against a really good Cal Poly last weekend. They look like one of the more. I know it's early, but they absolutely look like one of the more improved teams in the Carolinas as a whole. Like I said, Jet Music, he's great. They really can hit the ball. I'm checking right now. What did Troy do? Okay, yeah, wow. They lost the series to Mercer last weekend. But yeah, Troy to a lot of media outlets was a borderline top 25 team coming into this season. Expected to be that third team in the Sun Belt behind Coastal and Southern Miss. I think it should be a really fascinating series.
Fairfield at Davidson at 5 p.m. Looking forward to this one. Fairfield gave Coastal kind of run for their money in the first game. Read me, you were watching that at my place, but
Mhm.
Fairfield indeed did not get the revenge over the Chanticleers. And Reed, I'm going to skip over this one so we can talk about it after this one. Valparaiso at Wofford. Looking forward to that series. Wofford, I think, should get a bounce back from midweek. But Reed, the big one, the big daddy of them all, North Carolina at East Carolina on Friday. They then play at the Durham Bulls Minor League Park in Durham, North Carolina for a neutral site on Saturday. And then they go to Chapel Hill, go to the Bosch on Sunday. Reed, this is the big one. This is the big ticket. What are your initial thoughts on this before we get into predictions?
Um, I think it's going to boil down. I'm not going to predict right now. I think ECU, if they want any chance in this series, they need Ethan Norby to play like an preseason All-American, which everyone expected him to. Coming off a disappointing season debut last week against Xavier. He just really didn't look like himself. Struggled for command. And last year he really didn't walk that many batters. I think he walked 22 batters the entire season. Didn't have a single game with over 3 walks last year. I think he had, what was it, 3 or 4 walks this past Friday. Um, I think he's going to pitch a big game tomorrow. It's already sold out. The jungle is going to be alive. I think it's going to be a special atmosphere in Greenville tomorrow. But I mean, these ECU bats, they're going to have their hands full against arguably the best pitching staff in the country in Carolina. What's your thoughts, Kason?
You really said it all. It's going to be a massive game. Excuse me. For both programs, massive game for East Carolina in that environment. I love how they do this series every single year. The switching it up from the three spots gives fans all around North Carolina the chance to go. I absolutely love it. But Reed, you said it best. This series is all going to be about pitching. It's going to be about who can get the hits in the timely moments, who can get the timely hits in the right moments, the big moments. These games are always about moments, Reed. I mean, you just think about the guys. I mean, Bristol Carter walk off win. What was it? 2 years ago.
Mhm.
We just remember that moment because it's versus North Carolina. So many other moments. Vance Honeycutt going absolutely insane versus ECU, but I think it really comes down to Ethan Norby and Sean Jenkins versus Takero. And who's going to be first out of that pen for Carolina, do you think, on Friday? You think it'll be McDuffie?
Yeah, I would imagine McDuffie. A couple of their freshmen have looked really good too. McDuffie only pitched, I think it was 2/3 of an inning on Wednesday, so he'll be available. I would imagine tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I think Saturday. Then you look at the Saturday game too. Van Kippen versus Folger Boas, who was sensational last week too. And then on Sunday it'll be Colby Weber versus Ryan Lynch. We can make predictions here in a second, but I think the key ECU, they can't. From what I've noticed with Carolina, watching them here the past few games, they really hit the ball hard. I mean, it doesn't always result in a hit, but they're putting the ball in play, and it's forcing teams to make plays. And especially with the way ECU has been playing defense, it might not bode well for them.
Yeah, and that is another point I want to get to is like with this ECU team, I mean, you really don't see holes in the defense for Cliff Godwin teams, but this season it is a clear problem. I mean, it's been a problem for years for ECU not having I would say, Omaha caliber shortstop, that next level shortstop. One could argue that that is the reason that they have not made that jump. I mean, that's a real stretch, but I mean, Reed, when you look at it, I mean, if you look at the position groups, and when me and Steve and I go made the all-time ECU team, the weakest column was the shortstop column. And reading college baseball, that is a massive position. You need to have a good defender up the middle right there to be able to field ground balls, make fantastic plays, have range, have an arm. And then also at the plate, you need them to contribute at the plate. And to be quite frank, ECU is not getting no contribution at the plate, honestly, from one through nine. I mean, Reed, I mean, outside of Jack Herring, Burris, Whitaker's had some moments. I mean, everyone's had moments here or there. And me and you were arguing over text yesterday of Jeff Sabater. I mean, does he need to be in the lineup a little more? I mean, I don't know where you want to put him. He got on base 3 times versus Xavier, game one. But granted, he did strike out Friday night. Bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, full count, 2 outs. Looks at strike three in the game. Horrible, horrible sequence. But Reed, like, ECU lineups always change. ECU lineups always change top to bottom. But rarely do you see these defensive changes at ECU this often. I mean, Parham started on Tuesday because he earned the right to start because he played well on Sunday. He did not play well on Tuesday, so they moved Colby Wallace back over there. I mean, we've talked about it defensively in the infield for the Pirates. There are a lot of question marks still, and you could argue the defensive question marks cost them game one versus Xavier. And if they don't have those errors, there's a good chance they win game one. And we're coming out of that series versus Xavier talking extremely different, going into Campbell with a different attitude, going into Northern Illinois with a different attitude, and quite frankly, going into North Carolina with a whole different attitude. So all these question marks in the infield for the batting order, however you want to put it, they need to figure it out fast, and they are going to figure it out fast because you're facing a team in North Carolina who's Omaha caliber. This is the best pitching staff you're going to face the rest of the season. The only pitching staff you could argue you'd face better is Coastal Carolinas, but now they're pretty banged up. So you really have to figure it out now or never for East Carolina because you need these RPI points too, Reed.
Yeah. ECU really needs this. I'm not going to say it's a must-win series. They have other chances, like you said, against Coastal here coming up here in 2 weeks. But if ECU wants any chance of hosting a regional in Greenville come June, you have to win some of these big series at the beginning of the season to build your RPI. So I mean, it's going to be tough. You got to be able to field the ball. I mean, like you said, they're probably a few defensive plays away from being 4-1 going into this game. Game one against Xavier, they make many costly errors, and then obviously on Tuesday night they have 4 errors again. But I mean, they better figure it out fast. I mean, it's not an easy schedule they have coming up.
No, it is not. And just just kind of like you said, Reed. If ECU wants to win, they have to win game one in
I agree.
Greenville. They have to win game
Absolutely.
one. I think that game two is a toss up. Very curious. I'm also looking forward to seeing the crowd there. Also, if you are going to any of these games, be sure to catch us there. Me and Braxton will be in Greenville tomorrow for the game. All of us will be there on Saturday for the game. And Reed, are you going on Sunday? Do you know yet?
It's up in there. We'll see. I think we'll just play it by ear with the weather looking a bit iffy.
Yeah, that is another thing I wanted to get into. The weather does not has the weather cleared up for Saturday. I've not looked yet for real.
I'll check right now. Let's see.
I just
I
it,
know I was
it's
looking.
go ahead, Reed.
I know I was seeing it was like 50% chance of showers on
I just
Saturday.
want a
Um,
normal baseball weekend. We had what was it? 50 games last Saturday, I think it was, Reed, or right above 50 with all the double headers. Just absolutely unreal
yeah,
amount of fun
Sunday's not
baseball.
looking promising. Going to be cold and rainy. Saturday we're starting to look a little bit better. It'll be mid 50s. Um, Not ideal
Here's
baseball weather, but it'll work.
because what was it happened? Wasn't it? Was it 2 or 3 years ago when the UNC series one game got canceled? If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah. Even last year, one of those games got moved to the game in Greenville got moved to Monday. Um,
You're
and
right.
then and then a few years ago, I want to say it was 22 or 23. One of those games was canceled. I believe it was the neutral site, or it might have been the ECU, the game in Greenville, and they moved it to a midweek later in the season, like last or second to last weekend of the regular season. I can't remember what year it was though.
I do remember that because I remember. Was there a neutral site game before the one in 24 in Segra and Fayetteville?
In 24, you're saying?
In 23, or was that the
I
one that was canceled?
I can't. I think it might have been that year.
Because in 24 they played in Segra, and that's when Zach Root pitched the best game of his life.
Uh,
I'll argue that until the sun goes down. Even in better than anything he pitched in Arkansas uniform, but that unfortunately that game was not even on TV. And you
yeah,
weren't even there, right?
I didn't get to see it. I had to
Yeah.
work
So
late
I'm
the night before, so
yeah, it was the most phenomenal game, and that North Carolina team went on to go to went on to go to Omaha too, which is
mhm.
even more crazy. But story for another day. Reed, also just kind of we're going to wrap up this show a little bit earlier tonight because it is just us two, and kind of want to start working on some things as we go to bed and get ready for a nice weekend. But Reed, any other general comments for this weekend? Just anything you want to say, man?
I want to see Owen Hole on Carolina. There was a lot of hype, a lot of weight on his shoulders, to fill in for Kepley, and then obviously what Kepley did to replace Honeycutt was sensational last year. He's kind of struggled at the plate here to start the season. Hasn't got going offensively. He's looked really good defensively. He made a really good play out in center against Longwood. So I've got my eyes on him this weekend. I want to see him swing a good bat, and then like I said, I want to see Colby Wallace pick it up. No errors this weekend. Maybe hit a homer this weekend. Get that batting
Does he
average up.
start at shortstop all 3 games?
Probably not. It's going to take weeks for Cliff to know his go-to lineup. I mean, we've seen this story before.
Give me a bold prediction for this weekend. Give me a bold prediction for tomorrow night and then this weekend.
I'm gonna say that ECU wins tomorrow night. I think Norby is going to go at least 7 innings tomorrow night. I think 7 or 8 strikeouts. He's going to feed off that crowd like he always does. He loves the moment. I think it's a big bounce back. I think DeCaro will pitch a really good game tomorrow as well. I think it's going to be like a low scoring 3-2, 4-3 type of game tomorrow. But in all, I think Carolina will win the series. I think they win Saturday and then win Sunday. We'll see with weather and everything like that. I just think their pitching is too good. And they look very good offensively to start the season, which I had really a lot of question marks on the offense, and they've looked pretty encouraging so far.
Those are some good predictions, sir. For my bold prediction, I'm going to go with Gavin Van Kempen goes a career long 6 innings on Saturday to lead the Pirates to a win. And I think tomorrow, Jeff Sabater pinch hits as a big hit for the Pirates that leads them to a win. And ECU goes up 2-0 in the series, and then ECU drops the last one on Sunday. But also the way Colby Weber pitched on last Sunday versus Xavier, I mean, he is an absolute dog. But also want to say one more thing about this game. I know we talk about this game a lot. This is the biggest game on the slate for this weekend. But Reed, I have one more question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see Sean Jenkins in the bullpen all season?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, you broke up there.
Do you see Sean Jenkins in the bullpen all season?
No, I've said that. When they announced the rotation, I told Matt, I think he eventually is going to work his way into the weekend rotation. I mean, obviously, if Van Kippen and Weber pitch lights out, it's going to be tough. But, I mean, you look what he's did in his first 2 starts. I mean, he's been nearly unhittable. I mean, he was sensational against Campbell on Tuesday night. Great against Xavier. I mean, his stuff is too good. I mean, he's only 18 for crying out loud. So I think the way he's pitching right now, I don't think you can ignore that. I think Cliff will eventually work him into the weekend rotation. I don't know when, but I think it will happen at some point.
I'm with you, but Reed, he sure is a phenomenal reliever. He sure is a great piece coming out of that pen. I mean,
yeah.
Reed, if you go from Norby to him,
yeah, I mean that's a great one too. I mean, maybe that's where Cliff wants him the whole season, having a guy he can trust come out of the bullpen, because most of the guys in the bullpen they have right now are transfers.
Yeah, that's right. All right, folks, we are going to sign off. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow, comment, chat, do whatever you want. We appreciate it all. We appreciate all the support. We will have a bigger show on Monday at 9 o'clock to recap the weekend with Braxton. Hopefully Colby's able to be on, have a full barn. But Reed, it was fun tonight. It was a fun little 2-man we had here, sir. Thank you for joining us. Reed, have a good weekend, sir. I will see you on Saturday. And folks, be sure to like, follow. Thank you for watching if you're watching. Thank you for listening on Spotify. And folks, we will see you on Monday, folks.